I'm Coulter, and I'm a VTuber. But that's not important. What is important is Pokemon. I'm Nuzlocking every region and every generation with a different twist for each generation. This time, we're doing the Kanto region in Generation 1. The twist for this generation is... there is no twist! We're doing everything old school, that's right. That means no rare candies, no speed-ups, and hours of grinding. Yep, we're doing it like they did back in
1998, even though Nuzlocke didn't exist back then.
I stream every single one of my runs live on my Twitch channel, so be sure to drop me a follow there if you want to catch my suffering live and in stereo. So, without further ado, let's move on to the Nuzlocke! This is it! This is the final chapter, the final 30 hours of our Pokemon Generation 1 Nuzlocke, condensed and edited down to about 36.5 minutes for your viewing pleasure. At this point in time, I estimated that we were about halfway through the game. And while that estimation may be correct in terms of the number of badges that we've acquired, it is nowhere near close for the actual estimation of how much time we are going to spend playing this wonderful, wonderful game. 4 badges in is pretty decent, and we are about 15.5 hours into the game, as you can see on screen. This hasn't affected my mindset too much. I haven't crumbled apart at the feeling of the grind just yet. In fact, let's go into live culture and see exactly how I'm feeling about this grind right now. Look at our levels, right? And look at the level cap. Look at the thing. Look at what? Oh my good god. That's okay. That's okay. Let's go to the game corner. Fuck it. You know what? I'm gonna gamble. Okay, so maybe what I said earlier may have been a little bit of a lie, but... yeah, no, there's no buts. I pretty much just straight up lied to you. 15.5 hours did take its toll on me. And seeing how long of a road we had ahead of us, that was really the final blow to my mental state and pushed me towards my gambling addiction. So I did what any self-respecting gambler would do and beat up some criminal staring at a painting just because he was getting in the way of my gambling. A little note on the gambling thing, by the way, I don't endorse gambling your entire fortune away like this, but I sat down in front of this little chair, in front of this little machine, on stream for about 45 minutes to an hour. This little clip, this little sped up clip that you're watching, really doesn't do it justice. But after a decent amount of time, I finally got bored and decided, hey, you know what, it's time to go through with the rest of the story. After pressing the button hidden behind this lovely painting that the criminal was staring at earlier, we open the door to the actual game center, where we can actually game all over these little Team Rocket nerds. Now, during most Nuzlocks, this entire section is a little bit of a chore because we don't really need to go through all of these when we have rare candies. But in this particular Nuzlocke, I want you all to know that this puzzle, this entire section, and all of the trainers here are nothing short of a godsend. The most important resource, yet also the hardest to grind resource in this entire Nuzlocke, is EXP. And in large gauntlet sections like this, and Pokemon Mansion later on down the line, EXP is here in abundance, so obviously I was incredibly grateful for this. But one thing that I wasn't grateful for was how goddamn annoying this puzzle was. I know it sounds like I may be complaining a lot, but trust me, I did have a lot of fun playing this game. One thing I didn't have fun with, though, is how many puzzles there were, because I am not very good at puzzles. I know it was designed for kids, and yes, most people would probably get this on their first or second go-around. I, however, am quite dumb. So yes, after another hour or so of fiddling with that puzzle on stream, I run into another thing that is also quite dumb. Team Rocket! Not because they're hard or anything, they're just a little stupid like myself. Jesse and James, in a futile attempt to curry favor with their boss Giovanni, challenge me to a Pokemon battle. While I do eat a poison on my, dear Hypno, the rest of the fight is fairly straightforward. I knock them all out with whatever Pokemon I have on hand and send them blasting off again. Team Rocket's blasting off again! Goodbye. Goodbye, Team Rocket. So, I must say, I'm impressed you got here. Thank you. After starting off our first of a few meetings in a very strange way by giving us an awkward compliment, Giovanni challenges me to a battle after his bumbling buffoons failed to stop me at the door. Our boy Gio sends out Onyx first, only for it to fall victim to Patrick the Nido King's flashy double kick. Rhyhorn follows suit, only to fall victim to a rat that can somehow spit bubbles at the speed of sound to rip through its rock-hard armor. Finally, Giovanni sends out his prized Persian, who, despite the guard spec, falls victim to 2 psychics from our, resident Pokemon that's not allowed within 50 meters of a school. Thanks for the money, bruh. I appreciate you. I see that you raise Pokemon with the utmost care. A child like you would never understand what I hope to achieve. I shall step aside this time. I hope we meet again. Grown-ass man with his Pokemon, right? It's lost to this 10-year-old kid. After rubbing salt in Giovanni's wounds, I fall victim to the voices inside my head telling me exactly what I want to hear. That's right. They are telling me exactly what I need to do next. One more time never hurt nobody? Ain't that right? We just beat Giovanni? One more time didn't hurt. It's not. It don't hurt nobody. Let's gamble. Let's gamble a little bit.
The numbers, the colors, the letters, they all line up. One more time, my numbers go up, their numbers go down, my numbers go down, their numbers go up. I don't know. One day, this will be worth it. One more time, I promise you, I promise. This is the last time, I promise. I swear.
After my incredibly well-advised trip to the Game Corner slot machine that definitely did not last way too long, I started planning for our next encounter in Lavender City's Pokemon Tower. That's right, it's time to catch a ghost. Considering the fact that a Ghastly or Haunter wouldn't necessarily add too much to our run, because we are playing on Switch mode, because I didn't want to do this all over again if I ended up failing 20 or 30 hours into the run, I was hoping for a Cubone, but the spirits of Pokemon Tower had other plans for us, and thus sprung Ghastly. With a little bit of persistence, a few fancy words, a couple of compliments, and, hypnosis, I convinced Ghastly to join our team. I catch him, I put him in the box, and I make my merry way on through to the next section, which unfortunately means I have to see these two again. There you go! Prepare for trouble! And make it double! Truth and love, or whatever the fuck it is. Grandpa here wanted to complain, so we're setting him straight. So render yourself invisible and prepare to fight! And prepare to fight, I did! Team Rocket sends out their paltry Meowth, who gets very familiar with the bottom of Patrick the Nido King's foot very fast. They follow up that pathetic showing by whipping out their purple snake in 2 purple balls, only to get shut down, put right back into the box, and zipped all the way back up by our lovely, Hypno. After that, I talked to the old man, who was apparently fine being harassed by these two for some reason, but decides to thank me anyways, by giving me a wonderful tool that will introduce us to our next and probably most important friend for the rest of the run. I make my way down into the next route, and somehow within that time, I've learned how to play the flute majestically. After waking the big lug up, I put him right back to sleep, catch him with one of my Pokeballs, name him after one of my lovely viewers, and put him right to work. Now, as you can see, I put a wonderful filter up on screen to show you that this, in fact, is going to take a while. Now, let me introduce you to the next 6.5 hours of this run. That's right, for about 6.5 hours following this exact moment, I take Bob, our newly minted Gyarados, and our brand new best friend, CL, the Snorlax, into Diglett Cave to murder the local Diglett population for probably the next in-game week. I really want to stress how long this took. The footage that you're seeing in the background, that's all cut up and edited down and sped up and put in this nice lovely little section of the video. This took 2 full 3.5 hour streams to complete. That's right, almost 6.5 hours of just killing Digletts over and over again while my chat was roasting me about whatever the hell I said that day. I really have to tip my hat to the kids that did this for fun back in 1998 when there was literally no better way to get this done. But now that the hard part is done, it's time to finally get back into the fun part of playing a Pokemon game, and that's actually playing the Pokemon game. With our newly leveled team and some brand new friends acquired, I finally gained the confidence to step foot into the Silph Co building and progress the story even further. I make my way into the elevator and go up floor by floor, step on these wonderful, very strange, I still don't know how they work, teleport pad thingies to bring me from room to room, from floor to floor, to fight more lovely criminals that are ripe with EXP. I fight my way through grunt after grunt after grunt after grunt until I exhaust every single grunt on every floor, and then I finally come across a fork in the road. TM26, what is TM26? Is that like a useful move? Is that like... What is it? Please be a useful move. Please don't be some... Who can I... Earthquake! 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 After alerting our neighbors to a possible earthquake in the area, I tell Patrick to forget Seismic Toss and learn Earthquake because it's a better move. Until I am ever so rudely interrupted by these two bumbling buffoons. Where is... There they are. Jesse and James! My mortal enemies, my rivals, my, gotta suck. But it's okay. You better not disturb them. They're in a meeting! Much like our last encounter, these two Team Rocket Grunts whip out their two purple balls and purple snake only to serve as testing grounds for our new move, Earthquake. Oh, how lovely you are, Earthquake. After dealing with the snake and the two purple balls, I have to deal with the Pussycat, who is once again swiftly reintroduced to the bottom of Patrick the Nido King's feet. After dealing with the two horrible doormen that failed to keep me away from their boss, it is now time to face Giovanni for the second time. He wastes no time threatening me, a 10-year-old child, with the weight of his entire crime organization behind him, and I waste no time whipping out my Pokemon so I can open up a can of whoop-ass. Our boy Gio sends out Patrick the Nido King's little brother, only for him to eat a psychic from Penis Knows the Hypno. Then he sends out his prized Persian to get absolutely squashed by CL. Then he sends out two ground types, only to get spat on by our newly leveled up Gyarados named Bob. After that, well, the adult was history. The child wins. My beatdown of Giovanni has not gone unnoticed. I get a wonderful gift, the Master Ball, from the president of the company that I just liberated from the grasp of an international crime syndicate. At this point, we have seen, done, and gone through it all. But there is always one thing waiting for us at the end of the tunnel. In fact, within the tunnel. There is exactly one thing waiting, and that is Diglett. We picked up a Dojo in one of our previous encounters, and it was severely underleveled. So, we make our way back to Diglett Cave, obviously to murder the remaining descendants of the previous Digletts that we murdered before, all in the name of the glorious, glorious EXP. We didn't spend nearly as many hours in the Diglett Cave this time around as we did before due to the multiple generous donations of EXP from the Doug trio that inhabit the area. Our Dojo, taking notes from its previous victims, evolves into a Dodrio just in time for it to help us with the Fighting Dojo right next to the Psychic Gym. The Fighting Dojo itself is a normally optional area, but the sheer amount of EXP within these four walls makes this an absolute necessity for our run because we are still 20 levels away from the level cap, especially on our newly acquired Dodrio. Dodrio being a flying type pretty much trivializes most of these fights up until the Karate Master. Grunt, I am the Karate Master. I am the leader here. You wish to challenge us? Expect no mercy. Well, you heard the man. He said no mercy, so I mercilessly send out Penis Knows the Hypno to take out both his Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan with two psychics. Just like that, the Karate Master is nothing but a novice to me. After beating him, I claim Hitmonlee as my prize and give him the absolute best name I could think of. I named it H. Yep, I named it H. I pressed start too early, but you know what? That doesn't matter. Let's move on. And by move on, I mean let's go right back to what we were doing before and go straight back to Diglett Cave to murder even more Digletts. That's right, we are going to cleanse the world of every single Diglett on the planet because I really need to level up Dodrio. He's only level 33 and the level cap is 50. This is gonna take a long time. The monotony of Diglett murder has started to get to me, but I managed to gain 10 levels on our dear Dodrio and a couple of extra levels on our dear friend CL the Snorlax. So, with this newfound confidence and newfound levels, I take my way into Sabrina's gym just so I can battle every single one of the trainers that stand in my way. Except Sabrina, of course. But I found out that all of them are weak as hell. After I beat them all, I needed a way out. Can I just dig? Can I just dig out of here? Lexi, can you dig me out of here? I love Generation 1! After excavating my way out of the building, I decided it was time for me to take on another challenge, all in the name of EXP as well. That's right, I make my way down to Fuchsia City just so I can challenge Koga's gym trainers for even more EXP so I can get even closer to the level cap of 50. Again, 50. All of these guys have level 30 Pokemon. Please. Anyway, I deal with all of these guys' level 30 Pokemon with ease, getting me ever so closer to the magical number 50, which I've been aiming for since the very beginning of this video, pretty much. And it is getting to me. Koga, you will pay for your transgressions. For making the level cap level 50. For making my life hell. You will pay. It got to me so much that I decided to just go ahead and fight Koga 8 levels underneath the level cap, which turned out to be the right decision, because his entire team went down to just a couple of psychics from our dear old Hypno Toast. That's right, I'm calling him by his real name this time, because you, my friend, kept me going. Thank you for your service. Koga's Venomoth goes down and my mood goes up. He was not that much of a challenge at all. In fact, reaching his level cap is a bigger challenge than fighting him. Whilst Koga gives me my flowers, I look forward to the challenge ahead. In fact, a challenge even more challenging than reaching Koga. The only reason I'm pushing so hard to reach level 50. Sabrina. Sabrina is the next gym leader who also has a level cap of 50 and really hurts. Her Alakazam is incredibly scary and my team is just far too underleveled to deal with it right now. So I go on a side quest. The lovely Warden in front of me starts speaking Simlish, which roughly translates into, "Hello, 10-year-old child. Would you mind retrieving my golden teeth from this very interesting and slightly dangerous safari zone for me? Thank you." Being the good citizen that I am, I obviously say yes, and I make my way straight to the safari zone. I pay the small fee, walk on in, and get my first encounter, which just so happens to be an Execute, which I'm very grateful for. I capture it, and I name it Benedict, because I love Eggs Benedict. After sending Benedict straight to the bench where he's gonna reside for the rest of the run, I come across the old man's golden teeth. Somewhere nearby, I also come across a strange old man in an old shack in the corner of the safari zone that, after talking to him, says he's never been found by anyone except me, and gives me an HM. I gladly receive his gift, and I give my gift back to the Warden, who now can speak English, thank goodness, and gives me another HM, the HM for Strength. The previous one was for Surf, if I didn't mention that already. After that, I make my way straight to the Psychic Menace, after a couple of hours of grinding, of course. Yes, I cut out the grinding, that was just 3 more hours of Diglett murder, y'all didn't need to see all of that. But all that matters is that now I am leveled up and right in front of Sabrina, the Psychic Menace, who I am ready to defeat. And thus begins the battle of the century. Bob sends both Abra and Kadabra to the same fate, getting their head bitten off by a gigantic blue sea snake. Sabrina then sends out her most pertinent threat, the Alakazam, who I put to sleep with Toast, just so we can get a safe switch into Word, the bird, and hit him with a drill peck, but unfortunately he wakes up, almost takes Word's life, but he prevails and sends him straight to the grave with another drill peck. I'm just shocked it did. A loss is a loss. I admit I didn't work hard enough to win. Give me the Marsh Badge. Give it to me. Makes Pokemon up to level 70 obey you? Stronger Pokemon will become wild, ignoring your orders in battle. Just don't raise your Pokemon too much. Please take this TM with you. What is that? What does it do? Sidewave. It uses powerful psychic waves to inflict damage. With Sabrina defeated, it's about time for us to look to the future. I decide to make some changes to the team and add a legendary new companion. Yes, it may be cheap, but I need to win, okay? For the sole purpose of sweeping Lance and destroying the rival's Executor later on in the game during the champion fight, I decide to make my way down to Seafoam Islands and have my one and only encounter with the first of the 3 legendary birds. I run straight up to Articuno and chuck my Master Ball at it. Just like that, we have acquired my dear friend, Mace the Articuno. This 5'7" legendary ice bird will be one of the key pieces in securing the safety of this run and my own sanity. Yes, we didn't ban legendaries, I just really want this run to be secured. After our little Articuno detour, we make our way to Cinnabar Island, home of the hot-headed quizmaster himself, Blaine. We grind our Pokemon for a bit to reach the new level cap of 54 in Pokemon Mansion, and directly after that, we make our way straight to Blaine in his own gym after answering quiz questions of varying difficulty. What didn't have any difficulty whatsoever, though, was Blaine himself. His team composed of 3 Pokemon, a Ninetales, a Rapidash, and an Arcanine, who fell at the hands of our new friend CL, and of course, our handy-dandy, trusty blue sea snake, Bob himself, who took down Arcanine with a single surf. With Blaine's ace defeated, this marks my 7th badge, thus also marking my 7th gym, which means we're very, very close to finishing this game. We are 1 gym leader away, an Elite 4, and a single blue fight away from victory. But with our current team of Pokemon, I wasn't yet completely 100% sure that we can go through the rest of the game without losing anybody else, or without failing completely. So I decided to bolster my team with capturing a Zapdos, which only took 2 balls. That's right, it only took both of these balls to capture him, so we named them Bofa. After the capture, I made a grave mistake. We might need... That's not an item. I got bamboozled, and I am very sad. I can't believe this happened. It's an electrode that hopefully won't explode in my face, and Patrick can kill it. Right? Earthquake, the one shot that... You know what? No, sir, I do not know what. You should have ran the second you knew Patrick was in range for a crit, and now look what you've done. You've cost us a dear friend. Oh, rest in peace, Patrick the Nido King. You will be remembered in all of our hearts and minds. We will do what Patrick would have wanted us to do and carry on. So we make our way back to Viridian City so we can finally challenge the Viridian City gym leader. But before that, we have to deal with all of his little grunts first. The mysterious Viridian City gym leader's grunts are no match for our team consisting of 2 legendary birds, a big old fat man, some weirdo with a coin, and a tiny brown pangolin that we've kept with us from the very beginning. Oh, and Bob the Sea Snake. Yeah, that guy too. After making my way through his grunts, the mysterious gym leader reveals himself to be Giovanni. Oh, what a shock. Me and our boy Gio go straight into our usual routine and go right into battling. One thing to take note of in this fight is that Giovanni actually has access to coverage moves in the form of Thunder on both his Nido King and Nido Queen. Alongside that, he's got even more threatening moves in the form of Fissure and Horn Drill, which are both notoriously one-hit KO moves. So I use Bob to circumvent the possibility of him clicking Fissure, and use him to knock out the Rhydon. With a couple of switches at the right times, Giovanni was a walk in the park, which is something Patrick won't be doing anytime soon because I did a stupid mistake. But let's not think about that. Moving forward, we've got one more important battle to deal with before entering the Elite Four. And then, obviously, the champion's Alakazam is something that I am a little concerned about later on, but it's fine. Here it is! Here we go! The penultimate rival battle with our rival, Rat! I've seen your face for 40 hours, Rat. Fuck you. Whoa, alright, well, I got a little aggressive there, but you know what? Give me a pass, alright? This is the penultimate rival battle. I'm near the end of the game. I'm 40 hours in, and I've only lost 1 Pokemon. So, well, there's really nothing to write home about for this rival battle. It's just sending out one strong Pokemon after the other to counter his strong Pokemon, and, well, he kind of goes down with a whimper, not so much a scream. Until I'm out of here. Insert Gary theme. Wow, it cuts so quickly! We got like a second of Gary theme. We got do-do-do-do, and then it stopped. What the fuck? Man, Gary's such a bitch, he didn't even play his entire theme play. After that wholly unsatisfying experience with our rival Rat, it's time for us to look ahead. There are only a couple of rooms, a couple of trainers, and a couple of steps between us and the Elite Four. That's right, it's time for us to tread Victory Road. Much like the previous Long Gauntlet sections that we've seen so far, I treat this as an opportunity to earn even more EXP, and to get even closer to the level cap than we were before. Because even though our levels are high, they are not quite high enough. Much like the rest of the game, and much like the many Digletts that we have murdered, these poor trainers and Pokemon in Victory Road will feel our wrath, all for the sake of our glorious Lord and Savior, EXP. While we were battling a certain trainer though, one lovely member of my chat reminded me that Pokemon Yellow did change some of the Gen 1 sprites and has enlightened me, opened my eyes to the beauty that is Gen 1 Executor. Look at this fucking thing! Look at that thing! What the fuck? Look at that thing! Look at... With our new Lord and Savior, Gen 1 Executor watching over us for the rest of this particular stream, I get through the final trainer of Victory Road, thus putting me right before the Elite Four. Obviously a little bit of grinding needed to be done, so we definitely did that for another 4 hours. Yeah, another 4 hours. But after all that, I was ready. Yo, champ in the making, that's right. This is the last time I'll hear those words before I actually become the champion. You have to face the Elite Four in succession. You lose, you have to start all over again. This is it. Go for it. I will not lose. With this bold declaration of victory, I make my way through the doors to confront the very first member of the Elite Four, the Ice-type Elite Four member, Lorelei, who just so happens to be just my type. Good lord, she is so pretty. I love me a girl in glasses. While her ravishing good looks are certainly a distraction, I will not be deterred. I whip out Bofa to deal with most of her Pokemon because I'm pretty sure Bofa can deal with most of her team with a single Thunder each except for the Jinx, who I use CL to deal with because he is an absolute unit. But, as I predicted, all of Lorelei's Pokemon go down to a Bofa Thunder. And then it's off to Bruno. After oral farming on me for a little bit, Bruno finally challenges me to a battle which he has absolutely zero chance of winning because his team is full of fighting types and a single Onix for some reason. Oh my bad, it was actually 2 Onixes because I completely forgot about this first one because it went down so quickly. But I keep this fight simple stupid. I use Toast and his Psychics to deal with all the fighting types and of course Bob to deal with the Onixes. Just like that, Bruno is defeated. Thank goodness, god, that was really a nothing burger of a fight. After him, I make my way to the Ghost-type Elite Four member who has the hots for Professor Oak, Agatha, who honestly should have been a harder challenge because I only have a strong Psychic type. I don't have anything to deal with strong Ghost types. But since this is Gen 1 and Gen 1 Jenk exists, all of her Ghost types are also secondary Poison types, which means they take full, super effective damage from everything that Toast does, and Agatha goes down just like that. And now comes the actual challenge of the Elite Four. It's time for me to face off Lance and his powerful Dragon types, and the first and only pseudo-legendary in this game, Dragonite. You know, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I think I may have made this fight slightly easier than it should have been with capturing these 2 legendary birds and putting them on my team because they are both insanely good into Lance's entire team. The Gyarados falls to Bofa's Thunder, the Dragonairs are no match for Articuno's Blizzards, and Aerodactyl is no match for CL's Mighty Belly. But now it's do or die time. Lance sends out his level 62 Dragonite, and Mace, the Articuno, has to hit this Blizzard or we could get wiped. And he does because he's the GOAT, and now we send Lance packing straight back to the Isle of Berk just so we can train his dragon some more. After his subsequent defeat, Lance informs us that I would have been the champion if it weren't for a stinking little rat that came just a little bit before us. While I admit it was a little bit sweet of him to say he expected to see us in the Champions Chambers, it's time for us to hand him a can of whoop-ass. While Rat may have been training to be the champion this entire time, I have been training to beat him. That's right, I built a team that can just completely run straight through all of his team members, starting with Bob, who spits on his little pangolin. My past 40 hours of preparation have finally come into fruition as he sends in his Alakazam, who I of course meet with CL. While Snorlax is quite slow, he's also insanely tanky. That's why most people use him for their Gen 1 Nuzlocks or Gen 1 playthroughs in general. I take advantage of this fact and the fact that Alakazam is also fairly physically frail to send him packing with a gigantic Body Slam from CL, which picks up the KO and gives us time to deal with his wonderful Executor. Like I previously stated, our answer into his Executor is Mace the Articuno. Mace the Articuno really needs to land Blizzard, but I didn't trust a 70% accurate move, and I decided to click Ice Beam instead, hoping it'd one-hit KO anyway. But we are just short, just a little bit short, and take a Stomp for our Transgressions, which doesn't actually do too much damage, and I finish off Executor with a second Ice Beam. So what are we doing next?
Bofa needs to hit this Thunder, because there's no way we one-shot Cloyster without hitting Thunder. And this is how this works. He'll hit this Thunder, and we'll be A-okay.
He did not hit that Thunder, and we were not A-okay. Not only did we tank a super effective Ice Beam, the super effective Ice Beam also froze us. So Bofa, while he is a legendary bird, in this exact instance is nothing but a legendary fraud. He takes another Aurora Beam, which doesn't kill him, thank goodness. But I realize it's time for a switch in, and it's time to bring back our reluctant GOAT, our reluctant savior, the one thing that I really wish I didn't have to rely on, Penis Nose the Hypno, to try and deal with Cloyster. After being burned by the 70% accurate Thunder, I didn't want to have to rely on the 60% accurate Hypnosis and Dream Eater to try and one-shot this Cloyster, so I hit Psychic, and I pray that it's enough to kill the Cloyster and move on to the next Mon. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough.
But it wasn't enough!
Yeah, sorry, I got a little too excited putting that edit in. I don't know if you could tell, I was smirking while I was saying that entire line. Anyway, while our legendary bird couldn't land a 70% accurate Thunder if his life depended on it, this legendary creep can land a 60% accurate Hypnosis like it's nothing, like it's his second purpose, or his only purpose. Because of the Hypnosis landing, we can finally land Dream Eater on this Cloyster, finally picking up a one-hit KO and sending Blue, into his Ninetales. Unlike his previous Pokemon, Ninetales doesn't pose too much of a threat because of Bob, our lovely big blue sea snake that has seen us through most of the game, who also learns Surf. While Gyarados' special stat isn't necessarily the best, Surf washes away Ninetales like it never even existed in the first place, and thus we bring our rival down to his final Pokemon, the Eevee, now Jolteon, that he got at the very start of the game. In this case, Pokemon is like poetry. It rhymes. Just like how our rival got Eevee at the very start of the game, Lexi, one of our very first encounters, closes out this entire battle with one well-timed, well-placed dig. My lovely pangolin brought us from Route 3 all the way to the end of Victory Road. Thank you, Lexi! With the hit connecting and my Sandslash proving to be better than his Sandslash, and his Jolteon as well, we claim victory and finally end this almost 50-hour journey in the Kanto region in Pokemon Yellow in Generation 1. Now you can finally see my reaction after beating Rat for the final time after 48 hours of gameplay.
Give me that 6,000 Poké-Dollars.
Why? Why did I lose? 'Cause I'm fucking better. That's why. I am indeed better. That's right. Eat it, Blue. After 48 hours of toiling, grinding, EXP farming, and switch training, I am finally the champion of the Pokemon League in the Kanto region. As if this couldn't be any worse for him, his own uncle Professor Oak shows up and rubs salt in the wound. Ha! He deserves it. I deserve this moment to revel in my victory. Oak leads me into the next room to finally register my wonderful team into the Hall of Fame, solidifying the fact that I indeed did finish the game. each and every single one of my Pokemon strike a pose for the camera to show the world that they are indeed the Kanto region's champions, followed only by myself. As I nonchalantly stand there with my hand in my pocket and my playtime displayed for the entire world to see, I am grateful that this 48-hour and 18-minute journey is finally over. And this officially marks the end of my Generation 1 Old School Nuzlocke, only step 1 of 9 in the entire Genlocke series that we'll be doing from here on out. While the credits roll, let me take this time to thank you for watching the video up until this point, even if you just skipped all the way to the end to see if I made it. Thank you for being here. This was the first ever Nuzlocke I ever played to completion, and I know it's not a hardcore Nuzlocke because I played on Switch mode, but I promise you from here on out, every other generation, every other Nuzlocke we're gonna do is gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke with a twist. That's right, we're actually playing on set mode this time. So if you like what you see and you are excited to see the other Nuzlocks, or you just want to see me fail, don't forget to like and subscribe to catch the other videos that we're gonna post and the other Nuzlocks we're gonna do. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time.